Hi, I'm Sophie, and I'm going to be sharing 6 tips I have for beginner songwriters. These are some things that have helped me a lot in my years of songwriting, so I hope it helps you too. My first tip is to learn an instrument. And you don't have to be like an expert at this instrument or something. I would suggest just learning a few chords to start with, because so many pop songs only use 4 chords. And you can play so many songs with those chords and also write so many songs with those chords. So the first chords that I learned when I started learning guitar when I was 9 was C, A minor, F, and G. These chords are used in so many pop songs, and I wrote so many songs with just these chords, and I still do sometimes. The instruments I would recommend learning would be guitar or piano. It kind of just depends which one kind of sparks your interest more, which one you like more. I love guitar, that's just my personal favorite. I love strumming it, and you can finger pick, and there's just so many different variations of mood you can have with guitar, which I like. But I also play piano, and that's also really great to learn because if you're writing like a sadder song, it really gives a melancholy feel to have a piano. And don't think you have to be some really good guitar player in order to write a song. I feel like just having the base of those simple chords just gives you so much freedom to be able to write whatever you want. The second tip I have is to journal. And what I mean by journaling is just to write down your thoughts, feelings, or really anything. Write stories. Just get into that mode of writing and creating. And if you're trying to write a song about something in your life, then to just write a journal entry of that experience in as much detail as possible. Details are really, really good for a song. It just makes it sound unique, like a unique story. I also like to think of stories and make up stories, so you can also do that if you'd like. But this is just about getting in the mode of just creating and writing something. Then when you actually start to write a song, then you have all these ideas already that you wrote to write a song about. Tip number 3 is to find your creative space. I found it to be very helpful for me to know exactly where I usually write songs and where ideas come to me most naturally. Like I just feel most inspired like in my music room. And it's also important to find the time of day that you feel most inspired. Like for me, I feel like I get pretty inspired at night, maybe after like the workday, so I'm not thinking of things I need to do and I can fully just be creative. But just experiment with different times of the day, like if you like the daylight, if you like the sun coming through your window while you write, or if you like it being dark and gloomy, if that's inspiring to you, just kind of like experiment with this and see what feels good to you. I write most of my songs in my music room on my chair in front of my computer, and I just feel like since I've done that so many times, whenever I sit down on that chair, I feel like I'm just ready to write a song. Like I feel like my brain associated that with being creative. Yeah, and this spot can also be outside. That would be nice. I actually should write a song outside. I feel like that would be really inspiring. If you feel like you're not inspired, maybe just literally go to a different room. Maybe go outside, bring your guitar or whatever, and just write there and see if that feels better. Tip number 4 is to get inspired. And this one kind of goes along with the last one, but just get to know what kind of things inspire you. Like for me, I get inspired by listening to music that I love. Also, even things unrelated to music, like watching inspirational videos. I like watching TED Talks and like interviews, especially interviews with people that I kind of look up to, like other songwriters I admire or other artists I admire, because I just see someone doing what I want to do, and that really inspires me to just keep creating. And even movies and TV shows can get me inspired just watching other people's experiences. Also, whenever you feel inspired in general, like pay attention to what contributed to that. Sometimes it's not about being inspired all the time, because obviously you're not always going to be inspired, but you still have to stay consistent and write songs. If you want to get better with just like anything, you just have to put a lot of time into it and practice. You're still not always going to be perfectly inspired or write the best song ever, but you just set yourself up for success, and hopefully you can also just enjoy the process of songwriting more if you're just a little more inspired. Tip number 5 is to make a list of song ideas. And once you're feeling inspired from the past steps, then when you get song ideas, you can write them down in your notes. And something that has really helped me, and just in the last few months, I feel like, is I've had a list of just kind of random phrases or words that I just think are interesting. So it's not like I'm only writing down an idea if it's like this whole concept that I know exactly what the song is going to be about. I know exactly the title, the story. It's none of that. It's really just whatever is kind of intriguing to me. Sometimes I'll get ideas from Pinterest. Like if I see an inspirational quote or something, then I'll write down that quote. It doesn't mean that I know exactly what I'm going to do with that quote in the song, but just anything that's kind of interesting and inspires me. And I just do this throughout the day, you know, when I get ideas from the last steps, like any TV shows or listening to other people's music. Sometimes I'll just write down a title of another song that I just listened to. And don't worry about like copying someone else's song or something, because the thing is that it's just an idea, first of all. It doesn't actually turn out like that song. And sometimes I don't even end up using that phrase that I originally wrote down, but it just kind of sparked an idea in me that made me think of something else, and then had this whole song that started out with just that little concept, but it was actually totally different. Yeah, so just kind of write down anything interesting, and maybe you have a favorite line from one of your favorite songs. Just write that down. Like I have a vinyl player that I see here in my room, and it's like an interesting thing to me. Like I love vinyls. It's kind of cool, and I've never had like the word vinyl in my song, and I feel like I could write some kind of cool song or story with that. So I would just write down vinyl in my notes, or like record player. So whenever I'm ready to actually write a song, then I have a whole list of just little ideas that I can use and maybe start writing like a verse with that lyric or something and just see where it goes. But it's definitely been like a lot easier to just have something to start with rather than just sitting down to write a song and it's from nothing. Like it's just nothing. Like I'm like, okay, let me think of an idea. It's way easier to have a lot to choose from. And that includes using your journal entry as well from the second step, because that's also a lot of just information and lyrical ideas and everything to choose from. Okay, and my final tip is don't take it too seriously. All I mean by this is I just feel like I write my favorite songs when I'm having fun, you know? I'm not being like self-critical, or I'm not trying to write like the best song ever, or trying to make it perfect or anything. I'm just creatively expressing myself. And also when I'm too much in my head when I songwrite, I get stuck, and it just is a lot harder, because I just feel like songwriting is such a creative thing overall, and like it is also technical, which is important to know some technical things about songwriting for sure. But I think for beginner songwriters, and in general for me too, like on my first draft of a song, before I go and make like technical edits or whatever, I'll go back later. But at first I feel like I'm just trying to overall get an idea for a song, like a feeling for the song, the story, the hook. Like I'm just trying to get like the whole vibe of the song. Like what is this song? And to do that, I just feel like it's more of a creative thing than a technical thing like in your head. Like you're trying to write the first line of the song and you're trying to make it like perfectly crafted. And this could totally work for some people, but I'm just, you know, it's just speaking from my experience. I just find it easier to come from a more creative space. Like just enjoy your own songs, you know, just have fun writing it. Don't worry about the song like sounding like another song you've heard, or like writing a bad song, because just like anything, any skill, you'll get better with the more time and practice you put into it. Like that's just natural. And I just feel like it's also more impactful to write 10 songs that are like than to write one song that's like you feel like is good, but you put like months into it and like perfected it. And I just think it's more impactful to just create more, you know, and experiment with different ideas and different styles of songs, and you can always go back and perfect your favorite ones later. Like I started writing songs when I was 9. I was just a kid. I was 9 years old. Like I feel like as a kid in general, you're just not self-critical or like overthinking anything or worrying about what people think. I was just having the best time. Like I thought every song I wrote was amazing because it was just mine. Like it was just my creation. When you're enjoying something, you put more time into it as well. And not to say that you shouldn't push yourself to keep practicing even when you're not enjoying it, because you know you still have to have discipline and kind of work on things when you're not fully inspired. But just try out the attitude of like when you're going in to write a song, to not take it too seriously. Just have fun with it. And I'm like not sure if this makes sense or if it's helpful. These are not very like technical tips, but I still hope it's helpful to get in your own creative zone and your own flow. And that'll keep you going to keep on writing and keep practicing. And just like any skill, it'll get better, over time and the more you practice naturally. And so just try to enjoy it as much as you can as you go. So those are the tips I have today. Let me know if you have any other video ideas or things that you would like me to talk about related to songwriting. And yeah, comment them down below. So I'll see you next time. Bye.